Hello and welcome everyone. Today we are going to discuss one scheme which is recently praised by Oxford University study. So in recent Oxford University study, they have praised a government scheme known as Pragati. So Pragati scheme launched by the government of India back in 2015, and this scheme is for the purpose of coordination among various government departments. And in that scheme, majorly government is focusing on effective coordination between various department and ministry. Okay, so what is this scheme? What are the main features of this scheme, and what kind of the question they may ask in either GS paper 2 under the governance, or they may ask the question in GS paper 3 under the economy. Let's understand. And what I have did, first of all, I am going to explain this scheme. After explanation, I will give one example with the question in the form of MCQ, and after that I am going to discuss one mains based question on that. And the discussion PDF means the question, answer and explanation, each and everything you can download from our official Telegram channel after 6:30 or 7. You can go to the description. After 7 p.m. you can go to the description, and in the description you can go to our Telegram channel, and from there you can download that content. Fine. And we will consistently, we are going to do that, certain explanation with the question and mains answer writing purpose also. Fine. So let's understand that thing. Pragati platform. Pragati stands for proactive governance and timely implementation. By the name itself, you can see that proactive governance and timely implementation. Most of the developing countries, especially India, known for delay in the schemes. Fine, delay in the schemes. And delay in the schemes, it is not only just going to impact your efficiency, it also costs too much. For example, suppose a scheme, Government of India, suppose that scheme A. So Government of India have targeted, just for your understanding, okay? Suppose that Government of India have targeted a scheme for infra. Fine. And government have targeted that we will finish this scheme in 3 years. In 3 years. And this scheme is going to have a cost of, suppose that 10,000 crores. So with the 10,000 crore, government is targeting to finish that infrastructure scheme in 3 years. But because of lack of coordination, proper execution, if a scheme is getting delayed by 2 years, delayed by 2 years. Consider the cost of inflation factor. Inflation factor is 6%. If you are going to take inflation factor at 6% in just 2 years, you are going to have extra cost of 120 crores. So it is not just going to delay the things and inconvenience for the people or acceleration of the economy, it also costs very much. Generally, in India, the cost factor, because of delay of the scheme, it is not being properly discussed at various platforms, whether it's a policy maker or at the social media or electronic media or print media. But from the cost benefit analysis, any delay in the scheme costs too much and taxpayers have to pay. Fine. So in order to address this issue, this scheme was launched back in 2015, proactive governance and timely implementation, Pragati. The Pragati word, if we will translate in English, that is progress. It's a Hindi Sanskrit word which means that Pragati, fine, its English meaning is the progress. Fine. So the objective is to let's see the progress and proactively see the progress. And that is why they have given me name note proactive governance, timely implementation. You can see that it's a multi-purpose, multimodal platform launched by the Prime Minister Modi in March 25, 2015. So it's a platform where we are going to what? We are going to integrate multiple agencies, multiple ministries. Fine. So how they are going to do that? In this platform, what they are going to do is they are going to create a 3-tier structure. In this one, they are going to have a 3-tier structure, and under that 3-tier structure, PM office, Central Secretariat, plus State Secretariat. Fine. So these 3 are going to be in the mainstay. Fine. You can see here, it is mentioned, it is what? It is multimodal platform. Fine. It integrates digital data management, video conferencing, and geospatial technologies to address public grievances and monitor the implementation of government programs and projects across both central and state level. Fine. So what is an objective? Objective is not to start any scheme. Objective is ki whatever scheme is being started. Fine. Suppose that Ministry of Surface Transportation, fine. Highway and Surface Transportation have launched a scheme to connect Hyderabad with Chennai, fine, with the highway. So if Hyderabad is going to connect with the Chennai with an expressway, if Transport Ministry have announced this scheme, now what is the objective of Pragati scheme? Pragati scheme is Pragati platform. What they are going to do? Prime Minister's office plus all the states, Telangana, Andhra, and Tamil Nadu, they are going to be what? They are going to be involved. So how the land acquisition is happening, whether it has happened or not, whether it is happening, and what problems they are facing. Fine. So for that purpose, land acquisition, contract has been given or not, if they have been given, whether they are executing or not. So that will be what? That will be monitored on monthly basis. Okay. And in that, how they are going to do that? On every 4th Wednesday of every month, Prime Minister and concerned ministry, secretariats, they are going to connect all of them on one digital platform, and everyone is going to inform what is happening. Fine. And what problems we are facing. So this is the way how you are going to actively monitor. And here technology is playing a very important role. You can see that what they are doing: digital data management, video conferencing, and geospatial technologies, so that you can actively see the progress. And in fact, recently they also started using of what? Drones. So they started using of the drones, so that with the drone they can overview and oversee what is happening. Fine. So in this way, this scheme is working. You can see that the key features of this scheme: 3-tier structure, involve Prime Minister's office, union government, secretariat, state chief secretariat, facilitating direct communication and swift decision making. Fine. So at any platform, at any stage, if there is any issue, then Prime Minister is directly involved. Union Secretariat means, in this case, for example, the example I have given. Suppose that Government of India have announced that they are going to start one expressway project connecting Hyderabad to Chennai. Okay, and they have targeted to finish this highway in 3 years. So for that purpose, state of Telangana, state of Andhra Pradesh, state of Tamil Nadu need to be proactively participate in the scheme. Fine, because land acquisition is going to happen in 3 states in order to connect that. Fine. Whereas Union Government, Ministry of Highway and Surface Transportation, they are going to execute this scheme. So effective coordination between these two. Okay, and if any issue is coming, that can be addressed at what? That can be addressed at Prime Minister level. Fine. So this is why, if you will see that, as per the data, till then 2012, our ability to construct highway on daily basis was somewhere around 12 to 15 kilometer per day. So before 2013-14, we are constructing the highway on daily basis 12 to 15 kilometer per day. But after this scheme like Pragati platform, the ability to construct highway in India increased to up to 40 kilometer per day. Fine. So rapid development of infrastructure projects, and in between Government of India have launched many of the infrastructural scheme. That is Bharatmala, Sagarmala project, multiple super highways, and Udan scheme. So lot of infrastructure related schemes launched by the Government of India. And unless these schemes are not going to be properly monitored, their progress is not going to be properly monitored, it is going to be very difficult to implement those schemes in what? In the time-bound manner. Okay, so for that purpose, this scheme is very important. You can see that here it is mentioned that integrated monitoring, combining the data from centralized public grievances redressal monitoring system, CPGR, AMS, then Project Monitoring Group, and the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation to streamline the progress. Means a scheme is going to be implemented. Fine. So when government is going to, again, I'm quoting the same example of Hyderabad to Chennai highway. So if Hyderabad to Chennai highway is proposed by the ministry, then the project, if this project is causing any problem to the public, or land acquisition is getting delayed, or the compensation is not being paid, so such kind of the issues will also address under what? Centralized Public Grievance Redressal Monitoring System, CPGR, AMS, and Project Monitoring Group. So if public have any issue related to it, that will be addressed by what? That will be addressed by CPGR, AMS, and any issue related to what? Programs execution of that project, then it will be addressed by what? Project Monitoring Group and the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. So Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation is going to provide all vital data which is required to execute that project. So data will be provided, and is it implementing in the proper way or not, or what are the present data, that will be provided by MOSPI. So Ministry of Statistical and Program Implementation, this ministry in short is known as not MOSPI, Ministry of Statistical and Program Implementation. So Ministry of Statistical and Program Implementation is going to provide. Project Monitoring Group is there, CPGRMS is there. Fine. So these three are going to look that, and this report is presented to where? Prime Minister. How? Prime Minister is going to what? Prime Minister is conducting meeting on 4th Wednesday of each month, known as Pragati Day. Pragati Day means Progress Day. So what is the progress? From last month when we did the meeting till then now, what progress have been made? Fine. So data will be used and things will be monitored under this scheme. Fine. And in this regard, on 3rd of December and 2nd of December, means Indian Express, Times of India, Hindustan Times, Economic Times, The Mint, everyone have quoted this report published in the leading newspaper, done by what? Done by Oxford University Business School and Gates Foundation highlighted the Pragati scheme significant role in the expending over 340 over 340 infrastructure projects worth approximately 205 billion. So Gates Foundation and Oxford Business School have mentioned that how in last 9 years since this platform is launched, how India is able to effectively implement infrastructure project worth 205 billion. Fine, massive amount of money. So massive amount of money is being spent by the government of India, and how 340 infrastructure projects have been launched and executed. So it is a big achievement for a country like India, which is lacking in what? Lacking in infrastructure. And as we are having a target to be called as a developed country, to become a developed country, we need to focus on certain areas. Fine. For example, area of infrastructure and agriculture. So infrastructure and agriculture, these are two areas where India need to do a lot of progress. Though India is doing a lot in the agriculture sector, but a lot of things need to be done on what? Lot of things need to be done in both areas, infrastructure and agriculture, in order to what? In order to achieve this target. Fine. So in today's video, I am discussing about the infrastructure, but if you want, I can also discuss certain agriculture related schemes which are important for achieving the target of 2047 being as a developed country, and any other areas where India can do lot in order to achieve this target. So if you want more videos, please comment on that subject on which you want more videos. Please make in the comment. I'll see that, and if it is up to the exam requirement, I will definitely make video on those things also. Fine. All right. So in this way, it is mentioned how it is important. And in fact, Prime Minister himself, he made a statement, wonderful amalgamation of technology and governance, emphasizing its success in eliminating bureaucratic silos. So this term, bureaucratic silos, this term many times used in different articles, they mention the bureaucratic silos. So what is the meaning of bureaucratic silos? In fact, if like I want to explain here the term silos. So for example, there is a canister. Fine. There is a canister, and in this canister, fine, in this canister, things are stored here. 4, 5, 6 canisters are there. Suppose that missiles are stored here. So one missile, second, third, fourth. So there is no proper communication with each other. So when there is no proper communication with each other, then we use the term what? Working in silos. But actually, the term silos is coming from what? Submarine or multi-barrel rocket system, where they have silos and they put that missile in those boxes, and this term is known as what? Silos. In administration and in bureaucracy, the term silos means that there is no effective communication between two ministry and department. Then they use this term what? Silos. So this is why here they have mentioned what? They have mentioned the term bureaucratic silos. So bureaucratic silos term is used when they want to signify or highlight the ineffective communication. So even while writing an answer, you can also use the term what? Bureaucratic silos. Fine. When you want to highlight how the effective communication is not happening, you can also use this term what? Bureaucratic silos. Fine. Now, here one question for you. Consider the following statement about Pragati platform. Fine. Consider the following statement about the Pragati platform. Pragati is a multi-purpose, multimodal platform aimed at addressing the common man's grievances, simultaneous monitoring, reviewing important programs, and the project of Government of India, as well as project flagged by state government. Now see, because you have just seen all these things, so it is very easy for you to recall this. because you know the scheme just right now. Proactive participation and timely implementation of Pragati scheme. So you just know that ki this scheme have what? This scheme have both feature. Addressing the grievances plus effectively implementation of what? Effective implementation of government projects. Fine. But consider this thing for May 2025. Fine. By that time, even suppose if you have not studied that scheme or you are not able to recall that scheme in the exam, what it means that, then people will start using their logic. Logic, generally logic means what? Maybe scheme is for what? Grievances addressal, or maybe in scheme for what? Implementation of infrastructure project. So Pragati, people will try to use their mind, and what they will think? They will think that this scheme either may be for what? Either may be for effective implementation of infrastructure project, or it may be for what? It may be for addressing the grievances of the people. Both cannot be there. And if you have applied this logic, then for you this statement is going to become what? Incorrect. But if you have studied this scheme and you have did one or two revision of all the government schemes which are recently in the focus, if you have did the proper revision, then you will not going to have this confusion in your mind. You clearly know that the Pragati scheme is launched for two purposes. One purpose, grievances redressal of common man, plus effective implementation of the government schemes, projects, including state. Fine. So right now, because you have just studied, the first statement is looking very simple and easy. But consider this statement in the exam condition, it might going to confuse the candidate ki whether this is scheme for what purpose. Fine. Acha. Now the second statement. Second statement says that platform enables structured interaction, communication among various government agencies and officials, including Prime Minister, with the primary goal of ensuring timely and effective implementation of decisions. Fine. So here, how this second statement is going to confuse the candidate in the real-time scenario, under the pressure situation scenario. Generally, we know that the Prime Minister is going to involve on what basis? Prime Minister is going to involve on those things which are what? Which are getting problematic or they are of extreme importance. Until unless Prime Minister himself is not going to involve, it is being looked by various ministries and department. Fine. This is the common understanding of the people who are appearing for the exam. They have this understanding. But this understanding may confuse in the real exam. Why? If you have not studied, then you will also feel that maybe first statement is correct. Maybe first statement is correct, but second statement is saying that direct involvement of the Prime Minister. Why Prime Minister is going to involve on regular basis? He may monitor on what? 6-month basis or yearly basis. But here there is an involvement of what? Prime Minister on regular basis, as we have just discussed. Every month, 4th Wednesday, he is going to have what? Meeting under the Pragati Day. Fine. The Pragati system have been recognized for its effectiveness, accelerating infrastructure project, driving economic growth and sustainability in India by Oxford study. Fine. Generally, if you will see that, multiple platforms, whether it is IMF, World Bank, or any leading agencies, in their report, India is generally known for lagging in the things. We are not able to achieve the target. Things are not happening properly. So they highlight always what? The negative things. Though their objective is not to just criticize. Their objective is to show you where you are lacking so that you can improve. This is an objective of multiple agencies like IMF, World Bank, EDB, fine, OECD. All these platforms, they do proper study, and after that study they provide you the data ki where you are lacking. So generally in the newspaper, if you are reading the newspaper on consistent basis, we will found that ki the scheme or the things which are implemented by the government of India, it is being criticized because of certain things, not implementing on proper basis or not able to cover all those things. But here the praise. So praise maybe create a confusion in the mind ki how it is possible. Generally we know that ki it is not going to be praised, but here they have praised, so might be this statement is what? Incorrect. But in fact this statement is correct, because yes, on 3rd of December, many of the leading newspaper have reported about the progress made by the Pragati scheme or what benefit they have provided. So in this case, all three statements are correct. Fine, all three statements are correct. Here, answer with explanation is mentioned for you. As I said that after 7 p.m. you can go to the description, and from Telegram channel you can download this scheme, this question, and after this question I have one more thing for you, that is what? Means answer writing. So I have created one question for you based on this scheme, and you can also go for this question. Fine. Here the question is, identify the key challenges faced by the Pragati platform in achieving its objective. Suggest measures to enhance the effectiveness in resolving interdepartmental and interstate issue. Fine. So for your better understanding, what I did, I have mentioned approach to answer. Fine. Because sometimes or many times what I have seen that students, even they are having very good knowledge, but they do not know how to present that knowledge. Fine. What to write in the introduction, what to write in the body of the answer, what to write in the way forward, and in the conclusion. Fine. So this is why, rather than just presenting the answer, I have went for approach to the answer. The first thing what you have to do when you see the question. Whenever you will see the question in the exam, first thing what you have to do is identify the key terms. Identify the key terms of the question. For that, give at least 2 to 3 proper reading of the question. Proper reading of the question, have pen or pencil in your hand, read the question at least 2 to 3 times and underline all the key terms of the question. Fine. In the real exam, what you have to do, whenever you are going to write answer, whether you are writing in general studies or you are writing in an optional or you are writing in essay, first thing everyone have to do is what? Read the question and underline all the key terms of the question. Then think about the demand of the question. So here, what are the key terms? Pragati platform, challenges, interdepartmental issues, and interstate coordinations. Measure to extend effectiveness. So question is on Pragati platform, and Pragati platform, what are the challenges or issues they are facing and how to make it better. Fine. So what we have to do in the introduction, we have to briefly describe the Pragati platforms, its objective, and its significance in addressing the project delays and government bottlenecks. Means in introduction, we are going to present about Pragati platform. Fine. Then in the body of the answer, we will provide what challenges they are facing and that challenges which the faced by this infrastructure projects, what is the impact. So suppose that there is a delay, then delay is going to cause what? So we have to present both. Like certain candidates, what they did, when I have give this question in the class, okay, write this answer. What they did, they have mentioned only challenges. But when you are mentioning the challenge, okay, yes, we are facing this challenge. What question is saying that? Identify the key challenges. Identify the key challenges faced by a Pragati platform. Fine. In achieving the objective. So what people did, they have given the introduction of Pragati platform. And after that, they have mentioned point number 1, point number 2, point number 3, point number 4, point number 5, 5 challenges. So 5 challenges they have mentioned. But it is not sufficient. Here, apart from the challenges, you have to also mention that these challenges are giving what kind of the impact. So that impact is going to show the severity of the problem. Only then you can suggest what? Solutions. Fine. So this is why in the body, you should not just mention what? Challenges. You also have to highlight the impact of those problems. Fine. Then you have to go for what? Then you have to go for way forward. Means challenges are there and these challenges are creating certain problems and how these problems can be addressed. So in the way forward, you have to write suggest measure to overcome these challenges, focusing on technology, integration, training, improvement, intergovernmental collaboration, incorporate global best practices where relevant. What it means that? It means that first you have highlighted what is Pragati platform. In body, you have mentioned what challenges are there and what is the impact. Then you are going to suggest certain solutions. This solution, this solution, this solution can be implemented. And then that solution, what you are going to suggest, you can compare with any other country's similar kind of the platform. Fine, if possible. Means it may be a little bit difficult for you to find that kind of the thing, but if you are able to find and you are going to mention, definitely you are going to get very good marks. So obviously, if you want better, you have to put better work. Fine. So you have to do the extra hard work. And with these questions, I'm going to provide all like in this question and whatever the other questions I'm going to discuss in future. Probably on the regular basis, I'm going to do that. If you want, fine. So I'll do that and I'll provide the solution. That I will also provide the model answer so that it can help you for improving or enriching your content for the mains examination. Fine. Now, see the answer. The Pragati platform, that is proactive governance and timely implementation platform launched by government in 2015, aims to address the delay in the public infrastructure social sector project, fostering real-time coordination between the central government, state government. Another thing which I have already discussed with you in the beginning. Now, what are the problems they are facing? Interdepartmental coordination issue. Project often involve multiple departments with overlapping roles and responsibilities, leading delay in the approval and decision making. Fine. As I mentioned that, bureaucratic silos. So one department, another department, suppose that you want to construct a highway. Fine. And certain land is held by irrigation department. And that land you need. Surface, highway and surface transportation department that need that land, some part of the land, but land is owned by what? Irrigation, or better, which often means most common problem in India for especially highway projects. There are certain land which is held by whom? Railways. Fine. So for example, they have planned this highway have to be go from here. Fine. But in between, there is a railway track. Fine. There is a railway track. So what is the problem here? Highway Ministry said that you construct the highway, but railway track is there. Now, obviously railway track is there, then two options are there, overbridge or underbridge. So suppose railway is saying that overbridge or underbridge, and highway ministry is saying that no, underbridge. Railway is saying that overbridge. So first of all, they are going to discuss on this overbridge, underbridge, overbridge, one issue. Acha, suppose they have decided, okay, let's go for what? Overbridge, because it is more cost effective than going for what? Underbridge. Acha, done. Chalo, both agreed. Overbridge. Now who will construct it? Whether the highway department is going to construct or railway is going to construct. Obviously, highway department have to construct. But now railway is saying that we need these specifications. Under these specifications, this bridge should be constructed because railway safety is also required. So these kind of the delays are there, fine, which are sometimes technical in the nature. Sometimes the bureaucratic arrogancy is also there. Ki I am considering my department is what most important department than your department. So sometimes this happen, and because of this, there is a problem. You can see that. Example: land acquisition delays in the infrastructure project often requires input from where? Revenue, urban development, environmental department, which is slow progress under the Pragati monitoring. Land acquisition in any country is complicated, and it's extremely complicated in country like where? India. That is why if you'll see the syllabus of GS paper 3, there is a specific topic, land reforms in India. Fine, there is a specific topic. So consider the severity of the issue. UPSC in the civil services exam, they have specifically mentioned land reforms. And every year UPSC do ask 1 or 2 questions in the mains examination regarding what? Land acquisition. Means land reforms. Okay, so this is the issue they have mentioned. Interstate dispute. Interstate dispute is also there. Sometimes what happened? That dispute is purely technical in the nature, but sometimes the dispute is going to become a more political in the nature. Two states having the government from two different parties, and sometimes because of this, they are going to face these issues also. Fine. So this is another problem we can see in what? We can see in the Pragati platform, interstate dispute. Large projects that span multiple states, such as river linking, highway, face jurisdictional dispute and delay due to what? Conflicting priorities among the states. Polavaram project, irrigation project involving Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Odisha, and Chhattisgarh witnessed a frequent delay due to interstate disagreement despite Pragati's intervention. Fine. So Polavaram is an important project. Fine. Interlinking the river, providing what? Water supply. But again, water dispute. Water dispute is one of the most challenging dispute in India if you will consider land reforms. Fine. So land reforms, along with the land reforms, river water dispute. Fine. River water dispute is also a big issue in India. So even the intervention of what? Intervention of the Pragati is not able to do what? Not able to effectively solve this issue. Means there is need to do more. Third issue, technology and capacity gap. While Pragati uses advanced IT interface, officials at lower administration level often lack what? Digital literacy and technical capacity to fully utilize the platform. Yes, it is an important problem. And in fact, the bureaucrats like at top level, they are having good knowledge, or they are not having good knowledge. Suppose that a senior IAS officer in his 50s, he may be not too much tech savvy, or he is not able to understand that thing, but there are a lot of people to help him out, providing proper presentation, and they are having certain people to assist them. But those people who are working at very lower level, their technological adaptation and knowledge is not as good. And this is why what happened in the curriculum, new education policy and all the school education, they have introduced what? IT in their curriculum. From class 5th, 6th onwards, they have introduced. What is the purpose? So that the technology adaptation, which is very poor of the previous generation, it should be what? It should be better. So when I say present generation, fine, present generation means you. Older generation, father and grandfather, fine. So in that context, the previous generation is not having the good knowledge of the technology, and because of not having good knowledge of the technology, it creates a problem. So digital literacy is an issue when you are going to implement any government scheme while using IT interface. So whenever you will use any IT interface, then definitely it is going to be what? Create a problem. I still recall when government have decided to digitalize commercial banks. Fine. Digitalize the commercial bank, State Bank of India, all these things have to introduce what? Computer system. So that generation have faced a lot of issues. Means they are very effective while making things on the paper. When they are said to enter that thing in the computer, they are using the finger like this on the keyboard, and while pressing, and they are going to check it. Why? Because they are not used to for it. They have never did that thing. So adaptation was very difficult. But over the period of time, last 20 years, what happened? The new generation came into the banking system, and now they are very effectively doing those things on what? Computer. They will prefer to drop a mail rather than going for what? In writing. So this is how the things will evolve. So it is very important for a country not only focus on literacy, but also focus on what? Digital literacy. And here you can see that key technological adaptation creating a problem. Now the underutilization of social sector. So Pragati scheme is focusing on what? Infrastructure. Pragati scheme is focusing on infrastructure and related grievances. But it is also important not just focus on infrastructure, but also give a focus on what? Social infrastructure. And social infrastructure is not part of the Pragati scheme. Pragati focuses on the predominantly being large infrastructure projects with limited emphasis on what? Social sector schemes like health, education, rural development, where the delays are also critical consequences. So when Pragati scheme was launched, Pragati scheme or Pragati platform was launched, that was focused on the infrastructure. Why? Because government found that ki infrastructure is an area where we do find lot of delays. But in this point, we have highlighted ki we are having delays not only in the infrastructure projects. We are facing the delays in other social sectors like health, education. Fine. Recently, yesterday, Prime Minister have announced that ki we are going to construct more Kendriya Vidyalayas. Fine. So, if government have announced that we are going to construct somewhere around, I exactly do not able to recall right now, but suppose government have announced that 75 KVs, Kendriya Vidyalayas, they are going to start, or they are going to build 75 new Kendriya Vidyalayas. So, it should be time-bound manner. It should be in what? Time-bound manner, 2 years or 3 years, timeline have to be given. And if the timeline have been given to create that social infrastructure in the sector of what? Education, then its implementation should be in the time-bound manner, and it must be monitored by whom? Pragati platform. Similarly, government have announced that key to create multiple All India Institute of Medical Sciences AIIMS. So if government is announcing that we are going to construct a hospital, fine, or All India medical institutions like AIIMS, then that should be what? That should be properly monitored under what? Pragati platform, which is presently missing. So this is very important point. Among all those points, underutilization of what? Social sector. Fine. So here I have given certain examples also. PM Poshan, PM Jai, Ayushman Bharat. All these things require what? Attention for implementation. Fine. Then lack of feedback mechanism. Platform currently lacks mechanism for what? Incorporating citizens' feedback on ground level realities, which are essential for resolving what? Resolving implementation issues effectively. Though there is a mechanism to get the review. So that review process is involved what? That review process involves three things. Prime Minister and his office, Central Secretariat, fine, then State Secretaries. There is very less involvement of what? There is less or no involvement of the public which is getting affected or which is having their interest in such projects. So in order to make effective, rather than having 3-tier structure, there is a need to have what? 4-tier structure. And in that 4th tier, we can incorporate suggestions or views or feedback given by whom? Given by public. You can say that, sir, but there is a grievances system is there. So grievances system is there. What public is going to register their grievances, that grievances will be listened. Public is not directly contributing that. Fine. Now what is happening? Ministries are getting the feedback from the public, and they are mentioning in that Pragati meeting. The suggestion is that rather than getting the input from the ministry, better is to get the input from whom? public. So public input, what action is being taken by the various ministries and how it is being presented to the Prime Minister. So Prime Minister is able to see the two secretariat people, Central Secretariat people and State Secretariat people. Better to involve what? Third pillar also, that is what? Public. So in that context, it is mentioned. Resistance to accountability. The platform holds senior officials accountable for delay, but resistance to change and bureaucratic inertia in certain departments can dilute its effectiveness. As I said that, ki bureaucrats, especially sometimes when they are senior bureaucrats, they are not looking the things from very objective manner. Fine. Position and prestige become more important than the implementation of that thing. So sometimes this problem also come. Ki, why I will be responsible? You will be responsible. I know better than you. I know better than you. So such kind of the tussles happens frequently in the ministries. So there is a need to resolve those issues where the bureaucrats are going to create the problem. The red tapeism. Fine, red tapeism, and such kind of things must be what? Resolved, and those bureaucrats who are performing better, they must be rewarded with out of the turn promotions, and those who are not performing well, they must shown the door. Fine. In fact, that is another debatable issue at policy level, even at the parliament, lateral entry. Fine, lateral entry, which is an issue of debate, ki whether there is a need to bring more experts in the bureaucracy who are having expertise and a lot of experience of execution of those projects or particular scheme. We should directly have them or not. So government have started lateral entry scheme where they are going to hire at senior position in the bureaucracy directly from the private sector. But still it is an issue of what? Debate. Ki whether we should do for it or not. Fine. What is your opinion? You can put in the comment ki whether the lateral entry is required or not. And do not write ki yes or no. If you want to involve in a meaningful comment, then give your proper view. Take your time. Take your time, fine, and think ki in what basis lateral entry is going to be good or bad. Generally what happens on the YouTube comment, people are going to make unnecessary comments or which is not having any depth. But if you are preparing for the civil services, fine, and you have to write an exam, then your thinking and ability should be more logical and rational in the nature. And how we can develop this rational and logical thinking? By making meaningful statements, either verbally or in the written. Fine. So you can think about that. Lateral entry is going to help to resolve such issues or not. We can comment there. Fine. Now, so after mentioning the problems, obviously we have to suggest what? Solution. What we can do in order to solve this problem. Streamline interdepartmental coordination. There is a need of what? Interdepartmental coordination, and for that, unified accountability framework, which clearly delineate roles, responsibility, timelines for each department involved in the project. So rather than going for different departments, fine, create a unified accountability framework, and under that framework, all those who are involved in that scheme, they must be part of this. And single window clearance system in the Pragati mechanism to accelerate approval and the bottlenecks. What is single window clearance? Single window clearance, sometimes what happen? If we want to implement any scheme or project, we have to take permission or approval from various ministries and departments. Though at many places or many ministries, we have already implemented single window clearance, means you need not to go here and there. At one place, you will get what? All kind of the approval. So if such kind of approval will be there, it will be helpful for what? It will be helpful for streamlining interdepartmental coordination. Resolving the interstate dispute proactively. Interstate task force. So interstate task force means what? Task force. So task force means we are going to create a small group where we are going to focus ourselves on particular thing only. In that context we have mentioned what? In that context we have mentioned the task force. And apart from what? Apart from having a task force, provide what? Positive conditioning. In psychology, in the behavioral psychology, there is a term known as conditioning. Fine, the term is known as conditioning. Enforcing good behavior and discouraging bad behavior. So in that context, the positive conditioning in terms of the role model or success stories can be put forward, and it should be what? Properly advertised to encourage the people who are involved in this project. So if they can be successful in that project, why we cannot? So by pushing those successful projects, you can encourage the people who are involved in the execution of that project. So this is the psychological way in order to involve people more. Fine. Appreciation. Appreciation also helps. Recognition and appreciation. Abraham Maslow have given a hierarchy ki how people are what? How people are going to be always focused in their work. So for that purpose, appreciation and recognition of their work is also required. Just giving the salary is not sufficient. We have to what? We have to go for recognition of their work. Fine. So in that context, success story things can work in the better manner. Then strengthening the technological adaptation training program. Fine. We have found that like there is an issue of what? Digital literacy issue. So for digital literacy issue, we can go for what? Training programs, emerging technologies, leveraging artificial intelligence. Use more and more artificial intelligence in order to resolve those petty issues which we have here. Fine. Then expand the scope of what? Social sector. As we have highlighted, ki there are what? There are issues where infrastructure is a focus, social infrastructure is not a focus. We can do what? We can involve certain government schemes like PM Poshan, Swachh Bharat, Ayushman Bharat. Such schemes, it will be involved in this. It is going to do what? It is going to create a bigger impact. Develop indicators to monitor not just physical progress but also socio-economic outcomes. Fine. For example, Human Development Index is there, HDI. So on that line, if we are able to develop certain indicators, fine. So that indicators are going to provide whether on what basis our performance is going well, and involve the socio-economic indicators also, so that what is the impact of the scheme. Suppose that here it is mentioned what? Here it is mentioned in the success story, Eastern Peripheral Expressway. So how Eastern Peripheral Expressway have revolutionized that area, how the socio-economic changes have been introduced, what are the positive impact of these things. So on the basis of such thing, we have to create an indicator, and on that indicator give a value and provide the report. How this is state, how that state, fine. How this state is performing, how this state is performing on infrastructure and social infrastructure scheme. Fine. Integrate citizens' feedback, public monitoring interface, we have discussed. And here, India's ENAM platform on the agriculture has successfully used farmers' feedback, enhancing the market operations. So, ENAM is in our GS paper 3 syllabus. Agriculture, every year UPSC do ask questions on agriculture. At least 2 questions they do ask every year in the GS paper 3. And in that context, agriculture is an important topic. And ENAM, fine. So ENAM is a platform, national level market, agriculture market, fine. So under that, farmers, they are not just able to sell their crops under ENAM, but under the ENAM platform, they are also able to provide their feedback. And on that feedback, Agriculture Ministry have improved many services. So ENAM platform where the farmers feedback is available, and that feedback can be directly used. Same kind of the thing we can use in what? Pragati platform. Okay, so with example I have mentioned, promote regional and local engagement, decentralization, decision making, empowerment, district level administration. It is one of the prominent issue in India. decentralization. Fine, 73rd, 74th amendment being implemented, but story is not completed. There are many things still involved, means despite going for the constitutional recognition, 73rd and 74th amendment, still local bodies are not properly involved. Gandhiji talked about what? Village republic. So his idea of a village republic can be used, and more power should be given to where? At zero level, that is basic level, then the policy making and its implementation can be going to be what? More effective. So in that context, decentralized decision making. This point of decentralized decision making, most of the policy level issues, whenever you are writing on any question which is questioning what changes is required, not only this question, any question related to the governance or policy implementation or policy making, any question related to policy making and its implementation, you can use this point. Decentralized decision making. More involvement of what? More involvement of local level in order to what? In order to make it better. Fostering accountability and transparency. Again, real-time public reporting. What is happening in the monthly meeting? So on monthly meeting, you are going to have the meeting on 4th Wednesday of every month. So after meeting, what happened? It should be public in the public domain. For example, day before yesterday, RBI's Monetary Policy Committee did the meeting. So what is decided, what was discussed in that meeting, the minutes of that report will be published within 14 days and it will be available in the RBI's website. Who said what? Everything will be there. So similar kind of the practice we can also involve in what? In the Pragati platform. Ki what Prime Minister said, what particular minister said, what is a answer when the point was raised by the Prime Minister on certain issues. So what is being discussed, each and every thing which is discussed, the minutes of the meeting must be published as it is, so that public will be what? More and more having the proper thing, and the transparency and accountability can be what? Maintained. So for this thing, I have mentioned here. Now, performance-based incentive, as I said that, according to Abraham Maslow, recognition. Fine. Recognition is very important. So if certain ministry or department is performing better, then definitely that individual or their ministry or their organization must be recognized for what? Their contribution. Fine. And at last, I have mentioned South Korea's National Project Performance Evaluation System. South Korea's National Project Performance Evaluation System emphasizes regular progress reviews and inter-agency coordination, which can be adapted to what? Indian conditions. So here we have went for what? Cross-country comparison. So cross-country comparison. So India's system is there, and same kind of the system we have at where? South Korea, National Projects Performance Evaluation System. So you can also see that National Projects Performance Evaluation System. So that is equivalent to what? That is equivalent to what we do have as a Pragati platform. So we can learn from their good experiences, how they are performing well. We can use this thing also. Fine. Now, the concluding remark. Pragati has significantly enhanced project monitoring and governance efficiency in India, resolving long-standing bottleneckness in the infrastructure and social project. So, in the conclusion, opening line, what we did, and you have to be very carefully listen me here. When we are writing the conclusion, what was the question? What was the question? Question was, identify the key challenges faced by Pragati platform in achieving its objectives. Suggest measures enhancing its effectiveness in the resolving interdepartmental state issues. So what we did, in introduction, we have mentioned the Pragati scheme and how it is doing good, and then we have highlighted the certain issues, and then we suggested. Fine. So when we are writing the conclusion, in conclusion, we should not write anything which is out of the box or something new. Conclusion is more or less summary of your entire answer. You have introduced the Pragati scheme, you have highlighted the good things, what are the problems, then you have suggested the solution. So this thing we have to summarize in where? Conclusion. Now see the conclusion. The first sentence of the conclusion: Pragati scheme has significantly enhanced the project monitoring and governance efficiency in India, resolving long-standing bottleneckness, infrastructure and social project. So in the first sentence, we have highlighted the importance of what? Scheme, which we have mentioned in what? Which we have mentioned in the intro of answer. We have already mentioned this thing in the intro of the answer. The first line of the conclusion is addressing what we have mentioned what? In the introduction. However, such challenges such as interstate departmental coordination, interstate dispute, capacity gaps, limits its full potential. Fine. So we have mentioned what? We have mentioned in the body the challenges we are facing. So all these issues we are facing what? We are facing. So these are the issues. So we have addressed the body part. Now, by addressing these issues through the technological intervention, capacity building, citizens engagement, and extended focus on what? Social sector, Pragati can evolve into a comprehensive governance tool. This will not only ensure timely project execution, but also reinforce India's commitment to inclusive and sustainable development. So we have not wrote anything new in the conclusion. Why? Because concluding remark is just a summary of what you have written. And that required a lot of skill. So when your copy is being evaluated, introduction part and conclusion part. So introduction and conclusion part is the main focus of the evaluator who is evaluating your copy. First they will see that, and then they will see that, okay, what you have written. So summarizing the things is what? Is maybe easy, but summarizing the things in a given point of time, the amount of time you have to summarize each and everything in the conclusion and writing the concluding remark. It's a challenge. It's a big challenge. And those who are able to write in a better manner, obviously they deserve what? Better marks. So this is why conclusion is what? Conclusion is important. And always remember, when you are writing a conclusion, you have to summarize what you have written in the intro, body, and way forward. Same thing I did here. Fine. So in this way, we can address this thing. Fine. So I have mentioned one question. Fine. I have mentioned one question. But if you want to practice more on this topic, what I will do, apart from this question, I will post 2 more questions in the Telegram channel, our official Telegram channel. I will post 2 more questions for your practice purpose. Fine, one question I have discussed here regarding Pragati platform. 1 or 2 question, I'll do one thing. One question you have already find it here with the solution. One question I can give you in what? Practice form. As I said that this PDF is going to be available by 7 p.m. today. Fine. After 7 p.m. you can go to our Telegram channel, and from there you can download this PDF. And apart from this PDF, I will also upload 1 more question for your practice purpose. Fine. So in this way, we have discussed this topic of Pragati platform, and at CSB, we are going to do these sessions on daily basis in order to help you to improve your answer writing skill, your ability to solve MCQs, as well as addressing all important topics on daily basis. Okay? Thank you.